Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Learn From Us podcast. Welcome back. Thanks for watching wherever you're watching or listening. My name is Seth. Of course,
AKA Giggles.
Pardon?
AKA Giggles.
Giggles. Yeah, I'm laughing this morning. I'm here with Paul Gabrail, the man, the magician, the wizard. I got some text this week, some sex this week from some friends about you.
That was very exciting.
I shared them with Paul, a buddy of mine, Jamie, in Boston, who's a fantastic photographer.
Very nice words you said, Jamie. Thank you.
From Redwood and Rye Studios. If you're in Boston and you need photos, they are there waiting to rock your world. That was a cheap plug. But Jamie's a dear friend of mine, and he texted over, Paul, you love when we get feedback. I mean, anyone loves great positive feedback, but we're trying to do something here, and when people are following along and loving it, it does feel good.
It's nice to see growth every week, and random people I haven't spoken to in months and months and months just texting me randomly saying, dude, I love your podcast.
I thought you were going to say random people you haven't seen asking you for favors. Like you love when that
Hey,
happens.
Paul,
right?
great podcast. By the way, quick favor to ask of you.
Yeah, Paul loves that. So just reach out to Paul, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, and just ask him to do stuff for free. Everyone he loves that.
Gladly we'll do it.
Yeah. He's just sitting around doing nothing. Speaking of sitting around doing nothing, I brought a bass guitar up yesterday, and Paul and I sat down to have the big jam session. What's so funny? Both of us have been playing guitar for a total of about 3 months.
Yes.
No, I actually, funny enough, I brought a bass guitar up, and I met my wife in 1994 with this bass guitar in my hands, and I was playing it last night with Paul. So we sat down to have the big jam session, and neither of us know any songs, let alone songs together. And so we just sort of gazed into each other's eyes, wondering.
So first off, not true. Just every single time I started a song, you said, that song is sappy. And like I was playing Can't Help Falling in Love, which I learned yesterday, which is a phenomenal song by Elvis or UB40. And you're like, I don't want to play that. I'm like, all right, big shot. What do you want to play?
Yeah, we have different tastes in music.
You're like, by the way, I do like Papa Roach. If we want to learn how to play Cut My Life Into Last Resort. I don't know. You seem like the Papa Roach type.
I was in 1997, but
Papa Roach was not 1997. It was like early 2000s.
Okay, sorry.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I've had some of my friends who I've been trying to discuss real estate for a while. Some of my friends are reaching out to you and asking for your guidance. And so it's working what we're trying to do here in terms of teaching folks how to get long-term wealth through real estate and other investments. Seems to be catching on because people are asking you for more help in this world.
Yeah, it's going great.
And with that, I think one of the topics that most people are afraid of, that I hear most often, is, and probably pertains to me a bit.
Yeah. Every first-time investor.
Yeah, like I'd love to get into real estate, but I can't get that property because I don't have any time to manage it. And for example, a couple podcasts ago, we talked about a property in Akron that I was interested in, had 6 units, and we talked about this, right, Paul?
Yep, we did. We had a whole episode about it.
Yeah. And, my memory is just we talked about this. But we probably figured out that it wasn't for me. I have a lot of things going on in this world. We shoot 75 podcasts a week, so we're a little...
By the way, to everybody out there who's a friend, when you text me and say, Paul, loved your podcast this week, I have no clue which podcast you're talking about because we are literally weeks ahead of time.
Spoiler alert is that we have to film these in advance because to keep up with 2 podcasts a week is a lot, especially for a new company. And so
with your schedule, my schedule, we dedicate a whole day. And
yeah, in fact, I have friends that do podcasts and they actually film like 25 before they even release their first one.
Come on.
Yeah, and I was shocked because we sort of do it like,
I thought
2-3 times a month.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought 3 or 4 ahead was a lot.
Yeah, people do whole seasons, so which is harder. We do it this way to stay within the times.
Yeah.
To stay relevant with what's going on in the world. Like Amazon stock is back up yesterday, and I was sad that I hadn't bought it when it was low. But.
And then somebody yesterday reported for Amazon that they think it's going to go to $6,000 a share. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But anyways, let's keep
6,000.
Yeah, it's.
How could that happen?
I mean, if the euphoria continues, I mean, listen, do I think it could happen? I mean, listen, this whole market has completely bamboozled my mind and melted my brain, but anything's possible. I have a hard time believing that, but it wouldn't be based on any fundamentals because the current stock price is not based on fundamentals.
It was 1760 yesterday.
I think that's what you sent me. Yeah, 1760.
Crazy. Anyway, yeah. So I do know that a lot of people, obviously, this is probably one of the things that hold people back in the idea of real estate. Now you talk about the B to Y steps, right? The fourth or fifth step in the process is equally as important as the first or last. But we don't want to let the 10th step hold us back from even starting.
Yep.
And this might be one of those.
Which is what? I don't think you've said it yet.
Third party management.
Yes, we're talking about.
Now, I was going to ask you about this last night, but I wanted to wait for today because, frankly, I'm probably pretty confused on it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. So I buy a property. Go. Tell me what your thoughts. I mean, you go. I'm talking too much.
You're not talking too much. Most people, when I first started in real estate, my thought was, okay, I'll hire somebody to manage the property for me. Why? Because property management didn't seem very exciting to me. I wanted to focus on the investment side of the business. I wanted to focus on buying more properties, etc. This is a very common thing I hear now. And I chuckle when I hear it because I was the same way. I've hired easily seven or eight property management companies in my 14-year career.
What are these companies like? Like, who are these companies?
They're people who just want to manage properties. And you have to have a broker license and all these things because you can't, there's all these rules about it. And I don't want to specifically name any specific companies, but just know they're all shit.
Oh.
It's not necessarily all their fault, but a lot of it is their fault.
Why are you describing them as that, as such?
Okay, so here's why it's not their fault. Somebody buys a property, they're not involved in the day-to-day. They don't see the things that need to be done to the property. They don't see the maintenance things. And all they care about at the end of the month is, what's my check? Mm-hmm. That makes it very hard for a property management company to be able to properly invest back in the property, make sure they're putting more money into the property, et cetera. So that's where I'm going to defend the property management companies first and bash owners. Because when I was a third-party manager, when I hired third-party managers, all I cared about at the end of the month was, show me your check.
Let's back up.
Yeah.
What roles... When you hire these property managers, what roles do they...
Everything. They handle everything. They put all the staff in place. They handle all the maintenance orders. They do all the leasing. They do everything imaginable, and they charge a fee between 4 and 10%, depending on how big the property is. But that's not it. People think that's the fee. That doesn't stop there. They're also marking up the labor on people. You don't really realize that. So if they're paying a maintenance guy $15 an hour, their cost is... call it $18 an hour with all the taxes and Social Security, and they're charging you $23, $24 an hour. They have an incentive to have somebody spend more time at a property. A couple of management companies we had, they would charge us a leasing commission and not give the whole leasing commission to the leasing person. They'd give them like 25% of it, and they'd keep the other part of it. Capital improvements, if they did a capital improvement, they do a markup saying, hey, it's important for the property, we're going to mark it up. You get nickel and dimed in property management. Oh, you have a regional manager fee. You have this fee, that fee. And at the end of the day, your management fee ends up being a total of 10 or 12% because of all the extras you put on there. Even if you're paying 4, 5%, it ends up being a lot higher. I remember one time I negotiated a lower fee with incentives based on collection with a management company. And the fee I negotiated was 4% down to 2.5%. And they never hit the incentives. I was like, man... But why is he still working for me? That was when I was naive and didn't realize that he's marking up all these other things on me. So he's probably making 3 times that fee anyhow. He doesn't care. You know what I mean? Small things like that just, you don't care about them because they're all small here, small there, but then they all add up. But that's not really the issue I have. The issue I have is the focus too much on physical occupancy. So you know what I mean? Do you know what the difference between physical versus financial occupancy is?
No, of course not.
Could you guess the difference? What would physical occupancy be, Seth?
Well, obviously I have 10 units and 9 of them are filled, so I'm not 90% capacity.
Okay, what would financial occupancy be then?
I've heard you say this.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah. Is it about just fixing the rent on one to accommodate ones that are empty, or?
No. So let's use your example. You have 10 units. let's say they're $1,000 a month each. 9 are occupied. So you're 90% physical, right? But let's say only 5 are paying.
Oh.
So you're 50% financially occupied.
That's tough, yeah.
That's tough. Whenever people talk to property managers, the first question they ask is, what's your occupancy? They never ask what's your financial. Everybody's assuming physical. So a property manager's
That's what
goal.
I assume, physical.
Yes. Everybody assumes physical. What I teach people is don't care about physical. You have to care about financial. In Shaker, when we had our big property in Shaker.
How many units was up there?
308.
It's a lot.
We were the highest rents on the street by 25%. But my neighbors would brag about being 5%, 4% vacant, and we were 7 or 8% vacant. Well, would you rather be 7 or 8% vacant on 25% higher rent, or would you rather be 4 or 5% vacant on 25% lower rent? I think we'd all agree we'd rather have the higher rents and the higher vacancy. That's what we focus on is, hey, one of our properties in Columbus, we have 13% vacancy on there, but when we bought it, their average rent was $540. Now the average rent's $895. So we're still collecting. Amazing. Yeah, a huge. I mean, we're still collecting effectively 60% higher rent. What do we care if we? And when we bought it, it was 94% occupied. That's what we try to focus on. Is financially, that's what's coming in your pocket. That's what you're paying your bills with. Property management companies only care about physical. So every property management company we had would worry about free rent, free months, keep the rents low. You can't get higher. Every single one of them. And the second we fired them, our rents would go higher and our concessions would go lower. And concession is free month here or there, etc. The example I always give, and this might be a long example. Do you have time for a quick story?
I have all day.
We had a management company that was managing a 276 unit property in Columbus. Our average rent was $468. We owned the property for 4 years. Rents never went up, and we gave away 2 months free to get people in. And they're coming to us. We're experts. We know the market. This is the market. We put the property up for sale because I was like, listen, I can sell it for more than I'm into it for. Might as well move on. These 2 guys came to buy it. They'd never owned real estate in their life. They met with us. Very nice guys. Gave us full ask price. I said, guys, can I ask you a question? You're new to this. Why are you paying me ask price? Your rents are too low. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, we think you have over $100 in rent increase. And I looked at them and I said, guys, I have a professional management company managing this for me. I'm not trying to be rude, and that actually scared me on the deal because they were actually asking us to hold some money back as a second mortgage for them. And I was like, guys, I don't want to do the deal anymore because I don't think you guys know what you're doing. So we canceled the deal on them. We canceled the deal. We're going to pay full ask price and we had to hold a little mortgage back. My broker on the deal goes, yeah, I think they're wrong. There's no way your management company doesn't know this. Fast forward 6-7 months, we finally decided to part ways with this management company. We hired a new group. This new group came and pitched us and said, yeah, we think your rents should be not $468, $600, and you shouldn't be giving away 2 months free, you should be giving away 0. And we're like, man, maybe those guys were right. We fired a management company very first day. We got $600 a month in rent with no free months in there. First day on the job. First day on the job, they got units leased at the full $600 with no months free. So I look at that going, this isn't the only time that's happened. It's happened pretty much every time we've had management companies manage. And that's the issue. And if somebody might be out there again saying well, you're not hiring the right management company. And I will go back to the rounder statement. If you don't know who the sucker is at the table, you're the sucker. Inherently, it's hard for a management company to really want the same things you do as an owner. So that's why I always encourage people also, be your own manager for a while. It'll suck.
Yeah, so you do say this a lot, and which probably increases my fear of ever owning any real estate. What does that paint me a picture of someone like me, hopefully this year getting my first property?
Yep.
And being a manager.
We've had 1,000 units at one point. I've gotten the middle of the night phone call one time. And I evicted the person because she was lying. She lied about it. She said her roof caved in and there was water everywhere in her kitchen. She goes, my friend of mine can come over right now. It was a house we owned on the far east side. It was Christmas Eve. And I go, listen, I can't get anybody there till, she's like, I have a friend of mine. The friend of mine called me. He's a friend of hers and said, Paul, it was a drip from the ceiling. Nothing had caved in. It was a drip from the ceiling. And I was like, it was my last straw. I go, listen, she was already late on. No, she wasn't late on rent. But I managed to figure out a way to get her out. I think I gave her money to leave. And I was like, listen, you're a train wreck. I can't have this. I mean, it was a completely made up thing. So when people worry about what about if somebody calls you in the middle of the night? I've had that happen one time ever. Now, granted, I have managers now. We have emergency. But at the same point, it doesn't happen. So for you, Seth, other issues are going to happen? Sure. But it's also about understanding the process of property management. How do you get a unit rent ready? How do you get it rented out? How do you advertise for it? How do you do a background check? You need to know these things.
I have no idea how to do any of those.
Exactly.
Of course, so.
But guess what? It's not hard. It's simple, but not easy. That's it. I mean, I guess it is a little hard, but it's simple. And I'll teach you how to do that. And guess what? That way, someday, if you do decide to outsource your management to somebody else, whether it's a third-party manager or a partner, you can hold them accountable and say, well, wait a second. When I managed, I ran these background checks, and this is what I got. Do you know what I mean? So that's the whole reason you should manage yourself. Even if it's inconvenient for a year or two, I still think property management is one of those businesses where you should know how to manage. That way, when somebody else does it for you, you can hold them accountable. So now, do you think I do any property management myself?
I don't think so.
Our company does, and my managers upstairs are great. And guess what? When they give me their reports at the end of the day, I can look at a few key attributes and see where the property stands at any given time. All right. And I trust them where they're going to tell me, hey, Paul, we were just talking about selling a property. They're like, hey, we need to do this to the property, this to the property. If we can get this little bit extra for selling this property, maybe we should just do it because it makes up for the boom, boom, boom. Great. It's third-party management is just you're going to get feed to death. And if you're interested, I mean, they're also going to be competing with you. Let's say your neighbor calls them and says, hey, I want you to manage my property. Do you think they're going to say no to that? Not going to say, no, we already manage the property next door. Of course they're going to take the deal. And they're going to wonder, well, who are you going to put in the property?
Yeah.
The worst is when you hire a property management company that owns property. Because, okay, well then it's like hiring a real estate broker who buys real estate themselves. It's like, well, why are you sending me this deal? You buy real estate, you didn't buy this deal. Why not? It's the whole thing. So to me, just do it yourself. Is it more work? Sure it is, but who cares? You'll make more money. You'll do way better. Trust me on this one.
What is the, in a typical month, what are the roles of managing my own property? I don't even know. I mean, I could start throwing out some guesses.
Well, if you have a 6-unit, 4-unit, you'll probably not have much to do except for collect the rent. There'll probably be a few maintenance calls, have somebody's backup to go out there and do the maintenance work for you and collect your rent and make sure bills are paid. And then every so often somebody gives you a notice to vacate. You get the unit rent ready and you put it on Craigslist and the paper and all these things. You put a sign up front and guess what? You rent the unit out. You show the units. I'll tell you how to do that. You just don't tell everybody you're going to be there from Saturday and Sunday from noon to 4. Schedule the appointment. That way everybody comes in at once and you rent the unit out. Done.
Like an open house?
Yeah, like an open house. Plus, it's exciting to have people see each other when they're moving in. It builds excitement, makes people think that everybody else wants it, builds, all these things. And it's not really that complicated. If you make a unit clean and put it for a good price, you will get it rented. That's it. Tim, how much property management experience did you have before you started renting our houses?
Yeah,
for
Tim's
us?
the man, right?
Zero experience. And
unless HGTV counts.
He watches HGTV.
And how hard has it been? Has it been super hard? It's been like, okay, it's been issues, but
No, it's not super hard. It's following a system.
Exactly, following a system.
system. Yeah.
And the system is very easy. It's just, listen, you have to understand who you are, Seth. You and I are probably not the most detail-oriented people. But your wife,
Yes.
she sits in a meeting and she immediately pulls out a notebook and starts taking notes, right?
Imagine having her on the podcast one day.
Paul, you said this earlier. I want to make sure we go back to it and have a discussion. But she'd be a great property manager because she would be all right, well, Susie in unit 4 called because their sink is clogged. We need to get, Bo over there to go clean that unit. Okay, great.
It seems like after all this time, you probably have a great team.
Oh, yes.
I guess I'm fearful starting out. Like, I don't have any team at all. Someone I can
No
call.
offense taken.
Oh, no, I meant like
I know, I'm teasing.
doing actual work.
Yeah, you'll find it.
I've replaced tile, replaced toilets, replaced showers, baths.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And but I know a lot of people haven't. I mean,
No, I'd never have.
the idea of a toilet and like the process of how it flushes and where it goes is strange.
Did
to
you know
most.
if you take a bucket and just dump it into a toilet,
Yes,
it flushes? I didn't know that.
I did until I started working on toilets, but
See, so I just learned this thing probably last year because I used a toilet that
huge
I shouldn't
shit.
have used.
Yeah, huge shit.
No, it wasn't that. It was the toilet was broken. I didn't realize it was broken.
Dumb and Dumber
at a friend's
scene?
house, and they go
At a friend's house.
at a friend's house. I go, I just broke your toilet. I just took a dump in there, and they're like, oh, just take a bucket and dump it in there. I go, that works? They're like, yeah, that's how the whole system works. I'm like,
You had to come out shamefully and describe the scene in there.
pull somebody aside and go, hey, kind of did this to your bathroom. And they're like, oh, that's not a big deal. Just take a bucket and dump the water in
Yeah,
there.
I mean, plugging a toilet in a public place or in a friend's, that's just horror for me.
It is horror.
It's terrible. Like, because not all toilets, as our listeners know, not all toilets flush the same.
That's
different
true.
amounts of paper. I mean, it can be a murder scene in there.
You're right.
And if it doesn't flush right,
How terrible is it when the water starts to rise?
it might as well be a tsunami. It might as well be a tsunami with that water rising. Now, I bet you don't know. So this is most people don't know. You know, there's a water hose that comes out of the wall into the toilet.
Yeah.
Most people don't know you can just turn that off.
I mean, just turn the valve.
Yeah, you just turn it off.
But why would you turn it off?
Because if it's overflowing and you cut off the water, it's going to stop overflowing.
Oh, I didn't know that
You
part.
see, this is what you're
But
learning
then you're
here
on the
at
risk.
Learn From Us.
Wait a second. Then you're on the risk of what if you have to go reach back there and water's coming up and you have to like turn it off before.
Step one is turn the water off, Paul.
But if it starts to go up and higher, I'm worried about getting crap all over my shirt and my arm while I'm trying to reach back there to turn it off.
What happens if there's no plunger? What's your...
Oh, by the way, nobody has a plunger in their freaking bathrooms anymore.
Well, I do for this very reason. I mean, you know, but...
Next to the squatty potty?
You have those still?
I do. I have the squatty potty.
Listen, I need to be a spokesperson for Squatty Potty because...
How many of you sold for them? Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, Tim. I have one, and I can't live without it. If I go on the road, you know, hotels...
Flows like the salmon of Capistrano.
I have to build like a makeshift Squatty Potty. So Squatty Potty, if you're listening, we need a travel Squatty Potty. Basically, it's just, if you haven't had one, folks, it's just a stool that helps prop your legs up and just, it's fantastic.
Get things flowing.
Yep.
Gets the juices flowing.
Well, what a wonderful podcast we had today.
Who's our endorsement today? Who's our sponsor
This
today?
shows the softer side of Paul. This episode was certainly brought to you by Squatty Potty, Charmin, and
Who makes
and-
plungers?
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's gotta be a fun factory.
Uline.com.
Uline.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about how
Third party management.
So I don't know any of this stuff. You know how to do this stuff. And I still make it work. And I made it work. I mean, you just have to find the right people to help you out. And listen, everybody has friends. Everybody will have somebody. I told you before, find a friend who wants to partner with you and say, listen, I'll do the leasing part. You do the maintenance part. We'll figure out some sort of combination and go from there. Everybody puts some money in the deal and everybody wins.
Yeah, I mean, there's some inherent. It's funny is like I'm probably one Facebook post away from being like, hey, does anyone want to manage a property in West Akron for me? And I bet, you know, looking for people, I bet, hey, my cousin could do this or my blah, blah, blah. I bet people.
And guess what? You'll go through some people and they'll suck and you'll find other people.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you find the first person that works out. You know what I mean?
Except if you need a podcast, call me. I'm available out there.
Well, Seth, this is different. Look at how phenomenal this studio is.
Well, Paul, it's been a great podcast. I was going to ask you about this because I know this is probably a big topic in terms of moving forward, you know,
Yeah, it's a very
maintaining
big
the
topic.
property and getting things going. So do it yourself. I'm
And
sure
it's
people
amazing
don't want to hear that.
how many people tell me they don't want to manage themselves.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I was going to say. I
amazing.
don't think a lot of people want to do that.
You'll have to do it. I will force you to do it. And you're a busy guy. We were talking last night about how the things you have going on.
Yes.
But you'll have to figure it out because it's really important to me that I don't care if you don't do it forever, but you need to figure out the right way to manage it. That way, when you do have somebody who does it for you, not third party, I'm against third party property management companies. Find a friend or find a business partner who says, I like property management. Let's figure something out, whether they invest in a deal with you. And then it's very important. Have them have skin in the game.
I love it.
I love it too.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks everyone for joining us for this episode. If you want to see, I got after Paul for his Tinky Winky sweater, which he didn't even know was a Teletubby. But
Didn't I say it though? I did say, is that the
you said a Beanie Baby.
Beanie Baby? I did say Beanie Baby. You're right. But I meant Teletubby.
Yeah, Teletubby. So, yes, if you want to see what we look like, go to our YouTube page, learn from us. And, keep listening, keep watching, keep the comments coming in. And we're going to keep doing these podcasts forever, no matter who's listening. Even if it's just for you and me, Paul.
And Tim.
And Tim. Tim's always here. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Join us next time. Love you guys. Talk soon.